G'day guys, welcome back to another video. You're joining me for the round 10 review. It's Eno from Fantasy Take TV, and before we get to the SuperCoach stuff, had a positive week, as you can see. I'd like to shout out some Lakers fans. Commiserations. I know the series isn't done yet, but 3-0 looking like a sweep. Bad luck. I mean, look, if you had any idea, you would have known the Nuggets are the better team, but for whatever reason, some people thought they were a chance. But look, LeBron can't do anything. I mean, LeBron's still my favourite player of all time, and he can't carry this team at 38. Like, I know he's superhuman, but even still, and he's carrying an injury at the moment. I know AD went all right today, but look, the roster was overperforming for much of the playoffs. They did all right, but the Nugs, mate, we've been together for like 5 years, and this is what we're heading towards. It just, a bit of a roadblock, a couple of years with Jamal out, MPJ out as well. But in all seriousness, the Nugs are honestly giving me that much joy at the moment. The Tigers aren't going too well. The Gunners finish off the season pretty terribly. But the Nugs, I mean, they've probably been my favourite team to follow the last few years, even regardless of the other ones that I do go for, because they're all heart. They love to lean into the underdog story, and it is quite funny at times to watch, but it's been perfect. And look, job's not done. Still a lot of the playoffs to go. Still got to get out of this series, but man, watching them, the last few weeks has just been awesome to see in the playoffs, and I'm hopeful it can continue. But to the SuperCoach, no one gives a stuff about that side of things. Just sitting outside the top 2K now, so 2,572. You take that in any given week, but this week was a big one. A lot of big premium scores. It seems like every game there was a few of the popular primos going 130 plus, and it was just a matter of how many you had. George had pretty much all of them. Went 2,700 amongst a few other people in the Discord, but it was just another one of those big weeks where if you went well and everything went right, you would have made up a lot of ground, and I was able to. Obviously, some things haven't gone my way recently with Mills last week, bringing in Took a couple of weeks before that, and captaining him. So a few lost points there, like probably a couple hundred-ish. So, I'd be about, I think, 1,000 or inside the top 1,000 without those. But hey, everyone's, copped something this year. There's been a lot of injuries as well. We just learned that Clary might be out with a hamstring. I mean, I would assume he's out. It's just a matter of sort of how long, and obviously we'll talk about that. But yeah, it's been a tough year for some. Got 7 out of 10 league wins. Got 15 trades left. So really got to be mindful of how you're using these trades in the run home, and not wasting them, because I have wasted quite a few. So we'll get to the team, see how they all went. Last week again, sort of didn't fluff my trades, but didn't go with the most premium. Look, I got Humphrey in the end, which thank God I did. I was sort of tossing that up all week. Having to trade out Mills and Hopper. I didn't really only had I think 960k to get either two premiums, but they would be pretty, fake premiums, if you will. Like, I think my most liked combo was Redmond and Warner, and look, that actually would have been alright. I think they scored. I think Redmond tonned and Warner went 130, so that would have been fine. But I did in the end go for Stewart, who I just knew I wanted at some point. It's going to help. It's going to help along the buys really, really nicely. And Humphrey, so it was just a matter of that premium that I did opt for. So I was kind of set on Humphrey in the end, and then it was Stewart. Was it Merritt? Was it even someone like a Laird? I was even looking at Sarong maybe, but I set it on Stewart, and unfortunately he dropped a 90, which I think has been his lowest score since returning. I think, and then obviously Merritt goes bang and goes 160 and gets his highest score of, I mean, it might even be his career, I don't know, and absolutely dominated. So, that didn't go to plan. Stewart loses 30k or 20k or whatever, and Merritt gains that and is gonna skyrocket, and they're the same price now. So just more cash lost and timing not great, but look, still happy nonetheless. Gonna have Stewart for the buys the rest of the season, and I think he's locked in to be a top 2 or 3 defender. Day cost another 100. Didn't watch the game here and there. but he's playing a bit more midfield now, so it's not as sort of free as a role. I mean, he's still going to go back in defence and take some kick-outs here and there, but anyway, not much to say about Nick. It's just whether or not you captain him each week, which I think I was tempted to do today, but went away from it. Sicily's been awesome. I know he had that dud 3 weeks ago or 2, but he's gone, 130, that's 60 against Freo, which is poor, but 130 again, and he's sort of back to playing that third tall sort of more of a free role for him. So great for obviously SuperCoach and fantasy and whatnot, and is really thriving. Sinclair, huge bounce back. Obviously was really, not happy about getting him in a couple of weeks ago. He only went 99. I think I got him in last week, right? So 65 for me straight up, and then 160 this week just to bounce back. And it was a monster performance. Kicked a couple of goals, was instrumental, was everywhere. Great to see from him. So, got me some points back that I lost last week. Sheasel actually moved positions this week. I was wondering when that was going to happen, and it happened this week, and, played a bit forward and then ran through some stints in the midfield. So, scored very well. Like, he was awesome. Almost could have iced the game there, missed a set shot, but was everywhere. Look, Sydney were pretty appalling, but like in saying that, you got to give credit to North that they were really good. But you just obviously do wonder how many games North are going to be in like that going forward. And hey, maybe it might be more than we think, but obviously that played a part. If he's going to play more forward, mid, if it's not down there as much, look, it's definitely. Either way, it's not going to be as good a role as what he had down back, and so we'll just monitor that. And I'll probably still lean towards trading him at his buy. So we'll see what happens. But that's nice that he got that score and he's able to sort of hold his price for the next few weeks and see what happens. Weddle, who I got a couple of weeks ago, unbelievable, kicked 2 goals as well. So all these rookies, we're going to look back at this draft and we're going to look at it and go, oh wow, these are some really, really good young players. Humphrey included there. And obviously some others that, aren't in my team, but, not the top 10. There's quite a few good-looking young players, but Weddle was really good. Should lock down his spot now and really just should be, as I think I said it last week, should just be playing every week. There's no point not to. Chincotta got dropped this week, unfortunately. Hopefully he's back. And then Cowan, I just don't really see him coming back anytime soon. Maybe if there's a bit of an exodus there, but I doubt it. The Bont was good sort of in the last quarter, got his score back up. Clary was good, and we'll have to obviously wait and see what Melbourne say about his hamstring, but I expect it's going to be 2 minimum, maybe possibly 3 is really what the minimum of a hamstring should be like. There's no point rushing him back, so, reports out there could be up to a month, and look, I'm probably going to trade if it is. And we'll look through some options for that soon. But, unfortunately, I know a lot of people only got him in the last 1 or 2 weeks. So, just been that season, really. Dawson has been a bit of a slump. It's probably, for Dawson, there's obviously, he's got some standards. But scoring-wise, I guess it's a bit of a slump. A couple of 90s. But, I don't think I'm too worried about him going forward. Obviously, just, if you don't have him, you might be dropping in price enough to where you can pick him up post-buy. Although I think their buy is pretty late, isn't it? So just have to wait and see. Walshy actually jumped back into the midfield a lot more this week with Hewitt being out, and I think might have not ruined, but, his chances at DPP might have lowered quite a bit due to that. So we'll have to wait and see. And only scored the 90, but, Collingwood, hard team to score against. They really eat up a lot of the points, and, he still played pretty well. Got 29 touches, but a lot of handballs amongst that and a few clangers as well. Tom Green, really good. Obviously been a major success pick at 550k or whatever, averaging 110. Can't ask for any more from him. Brayshaw, great pickup, obviously, last week with an 88 or whatever it was. Was a bit disappointing, but bounced back with a big game this week. Gets the D's next week, which without Clary will be a good matchup. And D's actually been leaking some points. So, Butters just went nuclear against them. So that'll be good for him. Will Day is probably someone we're going to have to trade at the buy. Now, the problem is he's 470k and his break-even sort of going up. And look, he did get tagged today, so can't be too upset at that. He was able to at least muster a decent score in the end, but really hasn't turned up for us since getting him in. Really, it's just been a lot of 90s, and that's just really not going to cut it. Gets the Saints, Port. It's not really an easy run. So, I might even sideways him before his bye, depending on what happens. But look, he's not priced at very high, high price. So it's going to be hard to really get anywhere. But we'll have to wait and see. And then Humph was amazing. Look, I saw the goal he kicked. I wasn't obviously watching it. Unfortunately, I had to watch my Tigers choke away another win. But that goal he kicked, I did see, and it was really nice. And obviously playing a bit more up around the ball. So, loving that pick. He really, still going to have a really low break even, negative 54. And, if he, again, just can shoot up some 60s in the next couple of weeks before his bye, that's going to be great and even help us afterwards. Even gets Hawthorn here as well. So, if he's able to get to 350 and beyond, he's been a success and give us some good scores along the way. That'd be great. So, happy that I got him. Rowan is the one I ended up putting the captain on. I did VC Errol and stuck it onto Rowan, and obviously that was probably about as good it was going to get. I was tempted by Dunkley again, but obviously I went him last week. He scores 100. This week he goes 150, and I missed that. But it was really down to Rowan or Dacos after I did the Errol VC. Didn't really consider anyone else, maybe Bond, but I couldn't do that with the VC and Errol. So, stuck with Rowan and turned out all right. And then English, just another, pretty decent score. So, happy with him. Hopefully he can just keep chugging along, and those two can stay there all year. Dunk's massive, obviously not very relevant unless you captain him. Same with Timmy, I guess. Both pretty good. Errol, a few clangers early, didn't use the ball that well. Then got into it a bit later on. Rosie was good along with Butters. Obviously, that Friday night game was a monster from them. They really, really played well. As I said, D's kind of leak a bit of points in the midfield, and now especially with Clary out, really looking forward to that Freo matchup next week. So wrong if you've got him as well. Could be really good for that. Samson, done his job, been amazing for us. Had the opportunity to actually be even better. There's a few games in here that stick out, of course. I'm sure if you had him or watched him that, look, he's still, once he played 9 games here, and he only played 1 before that. He's still a 10-game player. Gets his hand to a lot of balls, but does look a little bit lost at times out there, but then in the ruck as well, he's actually really good. But Nank being back, obviously his ruck time really dropped, and pretty much scored 58 years as a forward, really. So, happy to trade him now. His break even's up to 71. Not playing ruck really anymore, and won't be from here. So, he'll probably go for me this week. And then Seamus Mitchell's been a really, really good rookie for us. So, already made 140k. Hopefully can get us to 200 and get us some good scores along the buys as well. And then Simpson, unfortunately, probably is cash gen anyway. Cash gen is dead, but now it just comes down to can he keep his spot in the team and hopefully play for us during the buys, especially round 12 is when I'm going to need him, the first buy. So, we will see. Trades this week. So depending on Clary, right, we're gonna have to wait for that news. I think I'll get his cash if he's out for 3+, 3, 4. I'll probably get rid of him. Looks like a good time to bring in Rory Laird, who's back to a bit of form. Went 140 this week. Then we've got 212k, and then that can be whacked on top of Samson. And unfortunately, the way I've done it, getting Merritt last week instead of Stewart this week, Merritt last week, I've stuffed it, and now I can't afford him. If we bring Humphrey down to the midfield, I'm about 10k short of Merritt. So again, it's another costly error in going Stewart first. If I went Merritt, I'd be able to get Stewart. He's dropped in price this week quite easily, quite comfortably. But that's no longer going to be viable. So this week, I think I'm looking at another midfielder. And by what I can afford, it really, we do have it by that, comes down to 2 guys. And that is Lockie Neal, who I've really been not sure about all year. And is he getting back to a bit of form? I don't know, but these 60s and 70s kind of scare me a little bit. But he does go well at the Gabba. He has turned up every game at the Gabba this year. Adelaide away might be a tougher affair, but then Hawthorn I don't think will be too hard for him. Sydney at the Gabba, which is nice, and they're not going too great. St Kilda might be, a little bit hard on, away, but then Richmond at the Gabba, West Coast at the Gabba, that's a nice couple of games. And then, as I said before, with Melbourne, who do like a bit of points this year, they get them. So, Neil, I'll pretty much be tossing up all week between him and then the other man in Jack Steele, who has went 130 this week. Sort of, these two games here kind of played 3/4, got subbed out in that one against Adelaide. Is he all right? Do I trust his body? I'm not too sure. He had another 10 tackles today, but a lot of them are just sort of your jump on top after someone, grabs the ball. He's not really exerting a lot of force in doing so, but he looks good. I'm just not totally sure on him. And do I go, look, Neil's, Steele's more in his prime. Neil's, is 30. Do we do that or not? Right now, I'm opting for Neil at this early stage. Might change my mind, but that's sort of the gist of what I'll be doing with those two trades. And then, we field Weddle again. It's been really good. We've sort of just got all these guys in here with Day, who is a defender, and then we field Humphrey and Mitchell down here. So, I guess you could say I've got Sheasel down here as well, but we're kind of looking at some forwards now, and unfortunately Butters is gone. Bang, we'll look at DC, maybe we'll look at Bailey Smith. I was hoping Walsh would get it, but he might not in the end and just have to be a midfielder, so we'll just have to toss that up. There's still obviously Cogs is always there, but isn't looking too enticing this year, but that's sort of what I'm looking at. It really just comes down to next week. I'll probably look to fix up my bench. Matty Roberts to forward from North, something like that. I know there's Fleeton this week that some people are looking at. Unfortunately, I'll probably have to pass. And then I'll fix up Count as well, get his money and do that. I might even do that before Roberts just to get some more money. But yeah, fix up the bench so I can have some players playing for me during the bye, and obviously making more money, which we'll still need to continue to do. So, that's the team. Let me know how you went for this week. Obviously, we'll record the podcast. Maybe stick to Tuesday. Whether we do live again, I'm not sure. But, it will be handy knowing some injury updates that we'll need to know and going forward. But, thanks for watching again. As always, hit the like button if you haven't. I don't usually ask for that. But leave a comment. I'll reply usually. So, thanks for watching again. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers. Got the mojo deals. We been tripping like the 80s. Pulling out the coupe at the light.